gamers, the Beard Gamer here, and today I wanted to talk about a dream I had. And here's my thought. I think when people go to bed, and if they do dream, and especially if they remember the dream, or nightmare, or whatever the hell it is, I think that's our mind playing video games. So here's my video game dream mixed in with a bunch of other shit. So, other reality shit. Anyway, so this is how it goes. So I dreamt that I was on some big, looked like a beach resort type thing down in Florida. I'm not sure. It was just a huge convention center with a giant lake / river running through it. I'm not sure, but it looked like a big, huge, deep pond. Kind of like the pond you see at, like, maybe in, I'm not sure, SeaWorld or something. You know, it had that nice, clear, crystal water where you could see fish, dolphins, shit like that swimming around. Anyway, so I'm up there. My fiance is the manager of the place, and she has this big button. It's all sparkly and lit up and all that shit, and it says, "Welcome to Magical World." And I was like, okay, well, great, I guess. And I'm walking around and da-da-da-da-da, and all of a sudden, I go out and I see the big pool thing. Okay, there's no fish going around. All of a sudden, these sirens going off. This loud sirens. It just reminded me, like, back in the old times, like back in the 1940s, when the sirens are going off, or you know, there's an invasion going to be happening. Well, in the distance, I could see 3 large things flying in. At first, I couldn't tell what they were, but they were definitely flapping like a bird. When they're getting closer, I was like, what the hell? They're dragons. One's a red dragon, one's a blue dragon, and one is a different type of color dragon. And what I mean by that is, it depends on how the light would shine on it. It would change colors. Kind of like those cars that have that special paint where it depends on how the light is shining on it. It'll change colors. That's what it'll look like. So they're coming in. I'm like, what the hell? People are panicking and everything. Except for these 2 kids. 2 kids, and they come up to me and they said, well, we know how to keep the dragons, you know, at least calm, and they won't eat us being humans. I said, oh yeah, well, what's the secret? Chicken nuggets. I'm like, what? Get the fuck out of here. What are you, chicken nuggets? Yep, chicken nuggets. So they hand me 8 pieces of nuggets. Now, why 8? I don't know. Maybe it's some kind of symbolic number thing. I don't know. Whatever. They gave me 8 nuggets. Here comes the big red dragon. It looks like a World War II plane coming in, going to be strafing us. I mean, that's what it looks like. And I'm like, oh my god, it even had the sound effects of that. I don't know why, but it did. So I said, what do I do? And they said, just throw a nugget at it. Okay, so I throw a nugget at it. It ate just one stupid nugget, and then, you know, just kind of swooped over us. Here comes the blue one doing the same thing. I looked at the kids, and they're saying, do the same thing. And I'm like, all right, throw a nugget at it. Oh, eats the nugget. Goes away. Well, here comes the multicolor one, I'm going to call it dragon. It comes in doing the same thing. I said, what do I do? And they said, do the same thing. I throw the nugget. It eats the nugget. Well, it doesn't eat it. It has it in its mouth. It stops, hovers over the big pond lake type thing, spits the nugget out. And I looked, and the kid shrugged their shoulders, so I threw another nugget at it. Does the same thing. Puts it in the mouth, spits it out. Meanwhile, all of a sudden there's this little rumbling coming up, and a big thing, like in the movie Jurassic World, big thing comes out and lands right on the dragon. I was like, what in the hell is this? And I'm just standing there terrified and awed at the same time, because I'm like, this is freaking awesome, but yet, yeah, if I get bit by one of them, there's no me anymore. Anyway, I was like, wow, I'm just like, this is just amazing. I'm like, okay, so everybody rushes into the resort, close the windows. It had big, huge, I mean, I'm talking 6-inch thick glass windows. I mean, it just felt like concrete window, but you could see through it and everything. They close it up, the waves, everything, because the dragon, and then the other dragons come in and start fighting this sea creature, which, by the way, looked like a giant mutated muskie. I kid you not, it was just weird. And they're battling around, and I'm just like, wow. And then I'm like, well, if they survive, we're going to need some more food. So I go to my manager while I'm talking to, not my manager, my fiance, who is the manager. I go talk to her. I said, well, we need some more food. Well, there's somebody back here. I don't know. She was busy with orders, and she just didn't want to talk to me that day, which, okay, whatever. And I go grab some, like, half-thawed chickens and shit like this. So, I'm going to throw it at the dragons and this giant muskie to keep them at bay. Meanwhile, though, and this is where it gets really weird, there's all these huge screen-sized TVs, movie theater-type TVs. So what do I see? Here I see one where CM Punk, and I'm not sure if you guys recognize who CM Punk is. He used to be a professional wrestler. Now he's getting into the Ultimate Fighting Championship stuff. He's, the cage fighter. He's transforming into that. Here I see him and Dana White, who is the president of the UFC, get into a big fight. I mean, they're smashing and crunching and bone smashing, bone breaking, nose blood everywhere. And to find out, one of the YouTubers that I follow, Cynical Craig, is doing the announcing, and he was doing awesome with his voice and everything. It was great. He's like, oh, look at that. CM Punk took a kick to the head, and there's a curb stomp. I mean, I can't do his voice, but he's just got the perfect radio voice for it, and it was so funny. I laughed, and I was like, wow, what's this? Meanwhile, on the other big screen, there is another YouTubers that I follow, a couple gamers, and they're playing, believe it or not, I think they're playing Final Fantasy VII, but it was the newer version that's supposed to be coming on PS4, and it looked freaking awesome. I mean, it looked great. And I was just sitting there thinking, how did they get access to that? But it didn't matter. It's a dream, whatever. I believe me, I didn't think about it very long. Anyway, so meanwhile, this big giant muskie drags the colorful dragon underwater. The other two dragons, the blue and the red one, they do a nosedive into the water, and they go underneath our big convention center. I mean, there must have been a tunnel or something under there. I don't know. I can't explain it. They went underneath, and I watched them dive in there, go underneath, and I was like, what the hell? And I'm like, this isn't good. And then all of a sudden, boom, the whole convention center is shaking. They're fighting underneath the goddamn center. Everything's shaking and everything. Oh, it's an earthquake. I said, no, it's a couple of dragons and a giant mutated muskie fighting underneath water. Yeah, you should have saw the looks I was given. And the last thing I remember of this really fucked up dream is two dolphins. All of a sudden, and they're big dolphins, but they're the flipper type. They look cute and cuddly. Not that I'd ever mess with one, but anyway, they kind of jump up half onto the deck area, the cement deck area where the supposedly pond is, and they're like, and I'm like, okay, and I just threw the half chicken at them and they ate it, and then I woke up from the dream, and I remember looking around, and I said, what the fuck was that? I don't know, but I guess that's when I think that our brains kind of have little fun with us, and decide to have video game time with us. That's my theory, thought, whatever of the day. But anyway, as always, Bear Gamer out!